Joining me now is Shannon Bream, host of Fox News at Night and author of her new book, The Mothers and Daughters of the Bible Speak, Lessons on Faith from 9 Biblical Families. Shannon, welcome to our show. It's always great to have you. You wrote this poignant piece in USA Today this week about the bravery of Ukrainian women. You said Ukrainian women's courage reminds me of the mother of Jesus. And you also talk about essentially how the women in the Bible are all stories of hope and how these women in Ukraine are writing the next chapter. So tell us a little bit more and how you see this.
Yeah, of course. These Ukrainian women are incredibly brave. We've seen the pictures of them. We've seen the video. Jackie, you've covered it. We've all covered these women literally just grabbing what they had, their children, maybe a few supplies, and taking off. Many of them ending up at the border if they can get there, desperate to be safe, leaving their husbands and their brothers and the men in their lives behind. Some of these women also, we have seen, are staying behind, arming themselves, learning how to do that, learning how to fight and staying. And just the bravery on every level has been so impressive to me. But it also reminded me of many of these stories through the Bible where women had to step up in overwhelmingly difficult circumstances and to find hope and find faith and find courage. And I see that in these women. And I'm just reminded that God is not unaware of suffering. He is very well aware of everything that's going on in the world. And he has mercy. And I think our prayers are important. I do think they matter.
Some of these stories, I mean, you just look at these women and you're awestruck by them. I was reading in the Post yesterday of a woman who was telling another outlet, she changed her name, but told her story that essentially 2 Russian soldiers came to her home. They shot her husband dead. They shot her dog. They took turns raping her in front of her 4-year-old son. And she was able to pick herself up after that experience, grab her child, and escape before they too were killed.
I mean, it's just beyond anything we can digest, I think, for many of us to hear these stories and see these women walking through that. It absolutely rips your heart out. And it's hard to believe that there's that level of evil and suffering that exists in this world. I'm in awe of someone like that who could have the wherewithal to grab her little son and to get out of that situation. There is evil in this world, and it is so difficult to watch this. And I think that's one of the toughest questions that confronts us in our faith journey is, you know, where is God in this? Why is suffering allowed? But I'm reminded of these moms. What I see mirrored in their story is I think about, Mary on the run with young baby Jesus when King Herod was trying to kill her child. And she was warned, you got to leave this country. No warning. In the middle of the night, takes this baby. She and Joseph go off running to a new country, to Egypt, which was totally foreign to them. No family, no friends. And that God made a way for them and found a way for them. And I think we see that through people who are stepping up. We're in communication with a lot of groups there and missionaries on the ground, faith-based groups and secular groups, people who are opening their homes. I talked too about the moms in Poland who lined up empty baby carriages at the train stations across the border so that when people got there, if they, you can't take off and have everything that your baby needs, but to leave those carriages full of food and blankets and clothes, and the actual carriages themselves, so these moms showing up would have some hope that there are people that care about them. And I think in these circumstances, we're called to be the hands and feet of God in a very practical way to meet the needs that these people have right now.
It amazes me how people are able to muster up strength in the most extreme circumstances. And I just want to share with you a tweet from Zelensky today. He said, just finished an hour-long conversation with POTUS, shared assessment of the situation on the battlefield and at the negotiating table, talked about specific defensive support, a new package of enhanced sanctions, macro financial and humanitarian aid. I mean, you're talking with people on the ground. Do they feel that enough is being done to help them?
I don't think they could have calculated the numbers. And just as you talked about the enormous displacement of the population there, even the people that are on the run, millions of them are still within Ukraine. They haven't crossed over to borders of other countries, which are doing their very best. But it's hard to plan for millions of people showing up at your border in such destitution and in such need. So we know within and without the country, there are efforts underway around the clock. Part of that aid today is going to go to administrative things like paying salaries and keeping the government running. So there are practical things that need to be done every day. And I am just so encouraged, not only by the bravery and courage of the Ukrainian people, but of those that are waiting and opening their homes and cooking them meals and showing up to be very practical and helping them in their worst moments.
It's been amazing, and the human spirit can be so resilient even in the worst situations. Shannon Bream, we will make sure we get a copy of the book. Thank you so much for being on tonight.
Thanks, Jackie.
Okay.